Welcome back, everyone, to Second Act First Date, Over 40 and Awkward.
Yeah.
We're on episode number 3 now.
We're already.
I know, right? Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. And we are diving deep today.
Deep.
Yeah, into a topic that, well, it can be a little bit, daunting for some people.
A little bit.
Okay, very daunting for some people, dating over 40.
Yeah.
And, our wonderful listeners shared an article with us called, Is Trying to Date Over 40 Even Worth It Anymore?
Ooh, that does sound a little ominous, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we're here to break it down together.
Yeah, let's unpack this.
Find the gems,
Absolutely.
and hopefully along the way come away with some really valuable insights
That's the goal.
for all of us.
So I think one of the first things that's important to remember is that dating over 40 is just different.
Different.
Not necessarily worse, just different.
Okay, so different, not worse.
Yeah.
I like that. And, the article talks about how societal norms around dating have, shifted.
Oh, for sure. For sure they have. I mean, we're seeing more people single later in life.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of what a successful relationship even looks like is evolving. It's not just about finding a spouse
Right.
and settling down like it might have been for, previous generations.
Yeah, so how does that then affect those of us who are, diving back into the dating pool
Right. After 40.
after 40?
I think about it this way. You bring so much more to the table now. You've got life experience, emotional maturity,
Yeah.
a clearer sense of your own values and priorities. I mean, these are all incredible assets.
Yeah. So we should be focusing on what we've gained, not what we've lost.
Precisely. You've had time to learn from past relationships, build a career, pursue your passions. I mean, you're not starting from scratch at this point. You're starting from a place of strength.
I love that. But the article also mentions this idea of ageism, this perception that somehow we become less desirable as we get older.
Yeah.
So how much of a factor is that in your experience?
Well, it's definitely out there. And I think the article, highlights some real frustrations.
With how ageism plays out in the dating world, especially for women.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure to appear eternally youthful.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, focusing on battling those external perceptions is exhausting.
Oh, for sure.
It's so much more empowering to just focus on what we can control.
Yeah.
Building our confidence,
Mhm.
owning our experiences, and remembering that true attractiveness really comes from within.
100% agree. And, the article also talks about the prevalence of dating apps now,
Oh, yeah,
which can be overwhelming, to say the least.
to say the least.
What are your thoughts on navigating that landscape?
Well, I mean, dating apps are a huge part of the dating scene now,
Right.
especially for those over 40.
Right.
I mean, they offer a wider pool of potential matches you can filter by interests, and they can be pretty convenient.
I will say that.
Yeah, but they come with their own set of challenges.
Totally. The article mentions things like impersonal interactions, ghosting, and just the sheer volume of profiles to sift through.
Oh my gosh, it's exhausting just thinking about it.
Right. And it's so easy to get caught up in just that game of swiping and matching, which sometimes feels more like a competition than a genuine search for connection.
So true. So how do we use these apps effectively
Right.
without losing sight of what we're really looking for?
Well, I think it's crucial to remember that technology is just a tool.
Yeah.
It can help facilitate connections.
Right.
But it shouldn't replace the importance of face-to-face interaction and authentic communication. Be strategic about how you use these apps, set clear boundaries, and don't be afraid to take breaks when you need them.
Totally. Speaking of taking breaks, the article also suggests exploring alternatives to traditional dating apps.
Yes, and this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, lay it on me.
Remember Jenny from the article who found love through a hiking group?
Yeah.
Or Mark, who realized what he truly wanted in a partner after taking some time for self-reflection and exploring his passion for photography.
Right. And those stories highlight that sometimes the most meaningful connections happen when we least expect them.
Absolutely. Think about joining groups or activities that align with your interests. Book clubs,
Unreal.
cooking classes, volunteer organizations. I mean, you're more likely to meet someone who shares your passions and values in those environments.
It just feels so much more organic
It does, doesn't it?
than, swiping through profiles.
Way less pressure.
Yes, and before we dive deeper into those alternative ways to connect, we want to remind you to visit secondactfirstdatepodcast.com.
Yes.
You'll find additional resources, articles, tips related to dating over 40.
It's a great starting point.
It is. And don't worry, we're going to unpack this article even more right after this.
Can't wait.
Me too. So much more to discuss. All right, so we've talked about This shifting landscape of dating over 40,
Yeah.
the challenges of ageism,
Yeah,
the pros and cons of those dating apps.
definitely. But let's get back to that big question
Yes.
that the article poses. Is trying to date over 40 even worth it?
Right. Because at the end of the day, that's what we really want to know. Yeah, is it worth putting ourselves out there,
Yeah.
facing potential rejection,
Uh,
and navigating this whole, new world of dating?
Well, the article's conclusion is interesting because it doesn't give a simple yes or no answer.
Okay.
It acknowledges those challenges,
Yeah.
but ultimately emphasizes the potential for something truly special,
Right.
a deep, meaningful connection with someone who gets you.
So it's less about guarantees and more about possibilities.
Exactly. It really comes down to what you, the listener, are looking for and what you're willing to put in.
Yeah.
If you're just seeking a casual fling, it might not be worth the effort.
Okay.
But if you're genuinely looking for a partner who shares your values, understands your journey, and wants to build something meaningful, then yeah, absolutely, it's worth it.
Because even though the dating scene has changed, that fundamental human need for connection
Totally.
hasn't gone away.
Not at all. And think about it. You've got this wealth of experience now. You know yourself better than ever before.
Yeah.
You're not willing to settle for anything less than what you deserve.
That is a powerful way to approach dating.
It is.
It becomes less about finding the one and more about finding yourself,
Right.
defining what a fulfilling relationship truly means to you.
Exactly. It's about owning your story, your experiences, and going after what you want with confidence and clarity.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We have unpacked the shifting landscape of dating over 40, talked about the impact of technology, explored some alternative ways to connect with people.
We have.
We have also acknowledged the challenges like ageism,
Right.
but also highlighted the incredible strengths and insights you bring to the table at this stage of life.
So many strengths.
I know.
Yeah.
And we've looked at those real-life examples that demonstrate that finding love and connection over 40 is absolutely possible. It just might look different than we expect.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Hopefully you're feeling a bit more informed.
I hope so.
And maybe even a bit more optimistic about the possibilities that await.
A little bit of optimism never hurts.
Never hurts.
Remember, this isn't about fitting into some predefined mold.
Right.
It's about writing your own love story, whatever that looks like for you.
I love that. And if you're feeling inspired to take that next step, don't forget to visit secondactfirstdatepodcast.com.
Yes.
For more resources and support, we've got articles, tips, and even a community forum where you can connect with others who are navigating this journey.
It's a great community.
It is, because you're not alone in this force. There are so many amazing people out there over 40
I know.
who are also seeking connection and companionship.
So true.
Don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
That's the key. But what if putting yourself out there leads to rejection?
Right. How do we deal with that fear? Rejection is tough.
Oh, yeah. At any age, but especially when you're over 40.
So, haven't we been through enough already?
I hear you. And, the article touches on that vulnerability, putting
Right.
yourself back out there. After heartbreak, divorce, or even just a long period of being single.
Yeah.
It takes courage.
It does, but, isn't that courage, that willingness to be vulnerable,
Yeah,
ultimately what leads to those deeper connections?
absolutely. Vulnerability is the key to authenticity. And authenticity is what attracts like-minded people.
Yeah, and think back to those examples from the article.
Yes.
Jenny found love because she was brave enough to join that hiking group,
Right.
even though she was nervous
To go to
about being the newbie.
the newbie.
And Mark, finally found happiness because he took the time to reflect on what he truly wanted
Yeah.
in a partner, even though it meant letting go of some old patterns.
Those stories are so powerful.
They are, and they highlight that it's not just about finding someone.
Right.
It's about becoming the kind of person who attracts the right kind of someone.
I love that it's about personal growth, self-awareness, and having the confidence to show up as your true self, even the messy, imperfect parts.
But what if we're just not feeling that confident?
Right.
What if rejection chips away at our self-esteem?
Well, I think it's important to remember that rejection is not a reflection of your worth.
Okay.
It simply means that that person wasn't the right fit for you.
Yeah.
It's like trying on a pair of shoes.
Okay.
Not every pair is going to be comfortable or stylish, right? You keep trying until you find the ones that feel just right.
I like that analogy.
Hmm.
But dating feels so much more personal than shoe shopping.
Oh, of course it's natural to take rejection personally, but try to shift your perspective.
Okay.
See it as an opportunity to learn more about yourself,
Yeah.
to refine what you're looking for, and to just keep moving forward on your journey.
So how do we stay resilient then in the face of, those inevitable setbacks?
Well, the article suggests focusing on building a strong foundation of self-love and self-care.
Mm.
That could mean spending time with supportive friends, engaging in activities that bring you joy, pursuing personal growth,
Yeah.
or even just taking some time for yourself to relax and recharge.
Right. It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
You have to prioritize your own well-being,
Yes.
to have the energy and emotional capacity to build healthy relationships.
100%. And remember, dating should be enjoyable, not a chore.
Right.
If you're finding it draining or stressful, it might be time to take a break, reassess your priorities, and come back to it when you're feeling more refreshed and grounded.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into dating over 40, is there one key takeaway you hope our listeners will remember?
I think the biggest takeaway from this article, and really from our conversation today, is that dating over 40 is a journey of self-discovery.
Okay.
It's not about conforming to some societal expectation or finding a fairy tale ending. It's about embracing the richness of your experiences, learning from your past, and creating a future that reflects your authentic self and desires.
I love that. And it reminds me of something we talk about a lot on this show, rewriting your own narrative.
Yes.
You get to decide what your second act looks like.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe that second act includes a fulfilling romantic relationship, or maybe it's about finding deep connection and companionship through friendships, hobbies, or personal pursuits.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is that you get to define what happiness and fulfillment look like for you.
So to our listener out there, we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought
I hope so.
and maybe even sparked some inspiration. Remember, you're not alone on this journey.
You are not.
There are so many others navigating the same terrain, looking for connection, companionship, and maybe even a little romance.
A little romance.
And if you're looking for more support and resources, don't forget to visit secondactfirstdatepodcast.com.
Yes, please do.
We've got tons of articles, tips, and a vibrant community forum where you can connect with others who are on this path.
It's a great community.
Remember, your worthiness is not defined by your relationship status.
So important.
Embrace the journey, trust the process, and keep those hearts open.
Keep them moving.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Second Act, First Date. Over 40 and awkward.
And until then, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep writing your own unique and beautiful love story.
Thanks for listening to the Second Act, First Date, Over 40 and Awkward podcast.